we've got something a little bit different for you today because it is the 50th episode of Grow with Evergreen. Yes, we've got a special guest, we've got party hats, and we're going to be talking exporting specifically for home and garden brands. This is going to be a lot of fun. Let's get into it.
Welcome to Grow with Evergreen, the podcast designed to help you grow your business by providing practical insights into all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy. Every episode, we help home, garden, and lifestyle brands with their growth challenges by delving into their business, dissecting what they're doing, and defining a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. Let's get into it.
Hey, and we are back. Yes, look, this is our 50th episode. We've got party poppers, we've got hats. Oh my goodness, how am I meant to be professional when I've got all this over my desk? I should be saying my usual trick of welcome back, beautiful people. So I hope you're all doing well. It is the 50th Grow with Evergreen episode. I cannot believe it. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun? We've got a special guest, Joe, who I'm going to be bringing in very shortly. I've got Darren and Archie for me today behind the scenes. It's all happening. I think we've got everything going on. We've even got a cake. Yes, we have. Come on, Darren, bring it in. Oh, look, the lights have gone off. Here we go, Joe. What do you think of our 50th cake?
I think you've really spent the budget, Aaron.
We've blown the budget. We've blown the budget. There you go. Look at this. There you go. Whee! 50 episodes. Have we got a knife? I know we're recording, but I need some cake in my life.
Yeah, we do.
Right. Just bear with us, viewers. We need to turn the lights back on. We need some cake.
We'll do a clockwise.
A what? A what?
Clockwise.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, one of those. Right, come on, Archie. In fact, Archie can come in. So look, I'm gonna. In fact, Darren, you need to come around as well. That's okay. So Archie here, not only does he provide knives and plates, but Archie helps with the producing. And you're gonna. This is an exclusive. You're gonna see for the very first time. Producer Darren. He is a real person. Here he is.
I don't know how to.
Surely you're part of our accent, no? Yeah, there you go. So these guys, there you go. So yeah, so Archie, Darren, massive shout out to these guys because I may be the face of it, but I do the easy bit. These guys do the hard bit, make the magic happen behind the scenes and bring everything together. So massive thank you, chaps. And let's indulge.
Pay me in cake.
I will pay you in cake. Let's indulge. And sorry, Joe, bless him, come in as our special guest for the episode. And then we launched all of this on and we said, right, we're going to do a big special. You need to wear a party hat, Joe. You need to get involved. I'm blessing you. So, chaps, help yourself. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Just talk among yourself. We'll be with you in it. But I'll give you, while you're doing that, I will give you a little flavour of what we're going to be talking about today. It is exporting because Joe Denham, our special guest, has run a brand. Sorry? Oh, sorry. Yeah. It's all chaos. It's all chaos. But so Joe has run a brand. I'll get him to tell you in his own words shortly. But he's run a brand in our space, in the home and garden space, for a number of years. And then he is now, I can give you his full title. I've got cake everywhere, chaos. But Joe is let me make sure, Joe, I do you justice, because you're wearing the party hat, the 50th celebration hat. So I need to make sure I do you justice with your intro. So Joe is thank you, well done, chaps. Massive thank you, well done to you guys behind the scenes. Go and enjoy your cake. And I will now try and conduct myself whilst filling my face full of cake. In fact, I'm going to have a little bit, so excuse me.
We also need to talk about our favourite moments.
Oh, we do. Well, we'll do that in a second. But just before I do that, Joe, you well? You good?
I'm very good.
Thank you for being such a good sport. Well, so we're going to segue back to that in just a moment. I'm all out of sync. But, so Joe is the Director General of Gardenex, which is the Federation of Garden and Leisure Products.
Correct.
You're also the Chairman of the Essex Chamber of Commerce. You wear many, many hats, not least the gold one.
Yeah.
There you go. So, exactly that. So, we're going to have a really interesting conversation around exporting in this space, which is not a topic we have touched before. So, it's really interesting. And essentially, the format's going to be slightly different, not least because we've got cake and candles, but because we're going to just talk about, I thought this would be a really interesting one for our 50th episode because lots of our brands are thinking, what export? How does that work? And so we're going to pick the brains of an expert and get into it. But before we do, come on then, chaps. I've got you both here today, which I've never had before on a pod, which is amazing. So 50th episodes. I can't believe we've done 50. Any highlights? Anything that's really stood out for you guys?
I think one of my key memories is the episode where I think we were talking to, it was someone who made wooden furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And it got brought up about me making wooden swords.
It was
Okay.
Design in the sand.
Oh, it was. Yeah. Oh, and you brought the swords in.
I just happened to have my wooden swords in my car.
Yeah.
Just Actually, accidentally, perfect timing there. But so I brought them in mid podcast.
Yeah.
We had the wooden swords on the podcast, which was. It's those sort of crazy, like...
We've done a few where we've just randomly brought
moments,
things in. Yeah, where things... Because, I mean, you know, as you can probably tell, the podcast is not particularly planned. We just sort of turn the cameras on, turn the lights on, and we just sort of go and see where the conversation takes us. And that's what we love about it. But sometimes there have been times where you have brought in all sorts of random stuff.
I see an opportunity and I have to...
Yeah, all sorts of random things. I'll tell you one episode that stands out to me it was a fairly recent one, actually, that I just loved. Was Roger, the Castleman. He was so lovely. He drove all the way down from Yorkshire and he came in and we had the best chat. And his business is just so much. His business is one where he just gets people, helps people stay in castles all over the UK, all over Europe. Like amazing. And had so many stories to tell of how he got into it and what he'd done. And that was, I really enjoyed that conversation. And what we've connected on LinkedIn. And so I've since found out from Roger, he's big into his gardening. And as obviously am I. And so I quite often put up posts on LinkedIn, like, you know, on Instagram, this is what I'm doing in my garden when I'm not recording podcasts and at work. And he's commenting, he's I'll come down and help you. So I'm going to get him down and help him with my polytunnel at some point.
He is a lovely man.
But he's that was good fun. Do you think any stand out to you?
My moment that I thought of for the podcast as well was when we had the most entertaining man I've ever met on, which was also Roger the Castleman.
Was it Roger?
I loved him so much. Making all
Roger, you've made an impression.
Yeah.
But we've had some amazing.
So good.
We've had some amazing guests on, haven't we? We've had businesses from those doing their first 100,000 to first sort of 2 or 3 first 100,000 online, right through those doing 20 million and beyond, and everything in between. And the recurring themes have been obviously lots of challenges when it comes to how to make Google ads work, how to make Meta ads work, what to do with their paid media, how to get more from the creative, what and where to do. And what's been really lovely and what we've seen over the last few, particularly the last few months, as months have gone past from some of the earlier episodes, is the feedback from our guests that have got in touch and I implemented that stuff, and it has really had an impact, and it's really helped me grow my business, and it's really taken things to the next level.
I think that's one of the most amazing things is that we are now 50 episodes in. That means we have helped 50 different brands.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Which is an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, and as we've said a couple of times before on the pod, is so few podcasts get to a certain level of 30, 40, 50. So we're now veterans, I basically think. But it's been good fun. So and the first 50 down and many, many more to come.
Yeah, it's to another 50.
Exactly that. So and a huge thank you to every single guest we've had on in the last 50. You've all been amazing, and we love you for coming on. And then to everyone watching and listening on YouTube or Spotify and Apple Pod on the website, just everyone that's engaging and commenting and reaching out and sending us DMs and pinging us emails and just saying, I'm loving this is great. So a huge thank you, because we genuinely have such a laugh creating this podcast and coming up with all the ideas and getting people on, having conversations and coming up with different ways in which we can add value to our audience. But it would just literally be the three of us, were it not for Joe and everyone else sort of taking up your time and coming in, which is amazing. So huge thank you. And what we need to do, I don't know how much longer we're going to keep this hat on my head, but I'm going to keep it on for the minute, and then we'll get rid of him in a minute, Joe. We'll get rid of him in a minute.
Okay.
So, but I think what we want to talk about, Joe, and the reason we asked Joe to come on as our special guest today is I just think this is going to be fascinating, because your story, Joe. Do you want to just give us sort of 30 seconds? Let's do away with the hats. Come on, let's get down to business.
Absolutely.
Come on, right. Just give us a sort of a whistle stop of you, your background, what it is you've done, because it's an amazing story.
Sure. We started VegTrug in 2009. It was right after the financial crisis, 2008.
Yeah.
So very difficult to raise any money. So an awful time for a startup. But it was a great product, fantastic design. I already retired. I bought a farm in France. I was living in France and having a lovely life.
Yeah.
And this product came up, and we ran with it. And the VegTrug, if you don't know it, it's a raised garden bed. About 6 feet wide, but it's unique in that it's a V-shaped product.
Yeah.
And that has several advantages, not least a wheelchair user can sit underneath it.
Sure.
And can garden across it.
Sure.
And it's a really cool looking, iconic design. So we launched that product at the Glacier in 2009.
Yeah.
Instant success. We took great orders there. And very rapidly it took off. I came back from France immediately after Glee.
Okay.
Came back to run the business full time,
and this was 2009.
2009.
Because that's what you said. So you just to give some headlines to our viewers. So it was VegTrug, which as soon as you mentioned that, we got talking. I was like, I've got one of them in the garden. I knew the product instantly. Been a customer numerous times, and it's a great product. It just works. It does exactly what you'd want it to do, and it really works. So you started that business in 2009.
Absolutely. Myself and my business partner, Paul Owen, we went into that 50-50 and off we went.
Amazing.
And believe it or not, we sold, of the original VegTrug,
that
1.8 litre product, we sold over 1 million units of that.
Wow.
In the marketplace.
Amazing.
So that's truly a global brand.
Yeah. And so that's now, and you're still involved with that business to this day,
I'm
right?
still chairman.
Okay.
I've stepped back from the day-to-day operations. My business partner, Paul Owen, still runs it.
Okay.
We did sell the business. We sold it in 2012.
Okay.
And I ran it as CEO right through until late last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So, and there'll be so many people that will know of VegTrug. Go, blimey, this is, these are the guys behind it, which is incredible. So, VegTrug, but and what's really interesting in that, we want to talk about exporting, which is just, for me personally, I'm fascinated by the idea of this. We grow these brands in the UK for the most market, nail your domestic market, but then increasingly our client, we want to expand, we want to go international, we want to go global. How do we do that? Where do we even start? Which I know is obviously your expertise. But with VegTrug, so you went global really quickly, didn't you?
Really early. We had to. If you look at VegTrug, it's a seasonal product.
Sure.
So we sell our product into stores starting late January, depending on the weather, they start selling through.
Sure.
And then end of June, our market's finished.
Okay.
So when Paul and I started the business, we had no real revenue stream coming in for the last half of the year. So we were really lucky. Lucky. We did a couple of shows. I approached Gardenex at that time and said, guys, I'm going to export. And they thought we were probably crazy. Because, it costs money and you have to have a plan. And so we have to. I have to get products. We have to chase the sun.
Okay.
And we were really fortunate. We did the Gaffer show in Cologne, and we did the National Harbour show in America straight away.
Wow. Okay.
And we picked up an order from Bunnings in Australia.
Okay.
Never forget it, $150,000 order.
Wow.
And away we went. That paid our bills for the next 6 months. So, and off we went.
And this is year 1, year 2 of the business?
Yeah, about 18 months in.
Wow.
That's about
amazing.
18 months in, we got that order.
And so from there, it was just then you were off to the races.
Still, obviously, you've got to put the work in,
sure.
put the times in, but we hung our hat on those 3 international shows. NHS show and Glee in the UK. Yeah. And then just moved on from there. I think we did NHS, we did it 14, 15 years in a row. You have to be there. That's one of the tips I'll give you. Yeah. A buyer, especially in the garden industry, they're quite traditional.
Sure.
They don't get sacked for waiting a year. They'll wait and they'll watch. And they'll see, how are you doing? Are you still there next year? And then they'll come and talk to you. Okay. And so it takes time. Sure. You have to be there time and time again. But that was my early interaction with Gardenex. Early interaction in exporting. Sure. And we learned from there.
And so now you're obviously the Director General of Gardenex. Yeah. That's been quite a journey. So and that's now now your day job is working with those and helping, advising, and educating on how to export. So
absolutely.
Where do we even start with this? Because it's such a broad topic and it's such an important one that I'm just trying to think what are the questions that our viewers might be thinking. Well, we're considering that, or we're looking into it, or we wouldn't know where to start. So if you are, let's say you've got an opportunity, you're a brand, you're established in the UK, you're doing $1 million or $2 million, and you've got an opportunity to go into another region, say the US or America, wherever. Sure. Where do you even start? Like, what is step 1? I've got to do this. Step 2, where do you go? What do you do?
Well, the thing is, you don't know what you don't know. You might go and do a show and be talking to a retail customer in America. They might be interested in a particular product, or they might even give you an order.
Sure.
And then you really don't know what you don't know. Yeah. My advice is to pick up the phone, talk to somebody who's been there, done it. Sure. And I did that. In the early days, I wasn't afraid to do that. I picked up the phone, I spoke to the CEO of a major gardening brand. Didn't know him, didn't know anything about me. Hi, you don't know me, my name's Joe. I'm going to be exporting out into America. What do I do? How can I buy you a cup of coffee? Sure. And, these guys will share their time. They'll share their knowledge. Yeah. That's their way to immortality, right? They'll share their knowledge. Yeah. So that's the first step. Find someone who's been there and done it. Second step, join a federation.
Okay.
You can look at the DTI and all the help that the government can give you.
Sure.
It's quite hard work, especially these days when budgets are tight,
Sure.
to get into those channels.
Yeah.
But your local federation, and particularly the gardening side, Gardenex, on the pet side, PetQuip,
Okay.
they've got decades of experience. If they don't know the answer, they will definitely know someone who does have the answer. We've got hundreds of members. We can always go out to a member and get a member view on your question. Export paperwork, everything that you need to know, compliance regulations, packaging regulations, everything that you need to know is available to you. Your federation is going to be your first step.
Okay, so picking up the phone and then getting but let's say you
Hold on, Aaron. I'm just going to stop you there.
Oh, God.
I'm just going to point out.
Have I done it again?
Well, I would say
I've done it again.
Just a nice segue.
I'm going to have some more cake.
I guess what you're saying there is that when you're starting out, it's all a bit of a mystery.
Oh.
Similar to a paid media mystery.
Oh, he's smooth, isn't he? He's very smooth.
I have to wait in silence for a good segue whenever you forget about that segment.
Which is most episodes. I need to have a jingle or something to remind me.
We do, yeah. But we're back again for a paid media mystery, and this time, of course,
we are. Come on, let's do it.
Of course, it's export themed because it's our export special. So I've got a multiple choice question for you guys and for the viewers and listeners at home. And our question this week is: what percentage of UK home and garden brands are expected to export their products in 2025?
I'm looking to Joe, the resident expert on this.
So the choices for your answer.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
A, 8%.
Okay.
B, 12%. C, 15%. Or D, 18%. So again, it's what percentage of UK home and garden brands are expected to export their products in 2025?
Home and garden specific.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be less than the total.
Yeah.
That's
I love that you always make these so incredibly relevant now. These are great. I don't know why. I think, shall I go first? Because I know you're going to know a lot more about this, I would imagine. It was 8, 12.
8, 12, 15 or 18.
I'm going to go 8, 12, 15, 18. I think, what percentage? I'm going to go 12.
Okay.
I'm going to go, I'm just going to go 12%.
You're locked in at 12%.
Yeah. What do you reckon?
Joe?
What do you reckon, Joe?
It's low.
Is it?
It's low. It's a low range. It's very low. It's shockingly low, actually. If you look at any of those numbers, it's low.
Yeah. Well, no, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know the specific. I'm 15.
You think?
It's about.
Interesting.
So the correct
let's see.
answer
I've no idea.
is C, 15%.
Yeah, I do. Well, you can have it there. Unbelievable. Is it 15%?
It is 15%. That information comes from the Department for Business and Trade.
There you go. But as you say, in the grand scheme of things, that is not very many, is it really?
We find this all the time. I sit on a couple of committees from some of the federations, and you look at the domestic manufacturers, and you go out with a survey, and it always comes back. It's shocking. Are you looking to export? Do you export currently? Shockingly low.
Why do you think that is?
It's scary.
Okay.
Brexit hasn't helped. It's made it more difficult. America's frightening, especially at the moment.
Yeah, well, there's
there's lots of tariffs and ups and downs and everything else.
Sure.
But you need a budget. It's expensive.
Is it? Because for those, myself included, those of us that haven't, it's not our area of expertise, never done it.
Yeah.
When you say it's expensive, like what is there a certain? Because obviously back in the day with VegTrug, you'd only been going for 18 months when you did it.
Yeah,
so when people, it is expensive, but expand on that. What does a business need to be doing and sort of?
Well, I mean, at the basic level, if you want to go over there and do an exhibition to start your just show your products, get a feel, put some feelers out for it. You've got to fly people out there.
Sure.
You've got hotel costs, you've got meal costs when you're out there, all of that stuff. To do a basic exhibition, get out there, even if you do it through a federation that's going to help you, they're going to set up for you, they're going to do all sorts of help with you, get your products out there, you've got to ship them out there.
Sure.
You're looking at 10, 15 grand.
Yeah, easily.
To do that.
Yeah.
And it's quite expensive. And you've got to do it year after year after year after year. So, it's not cheap.
And so if you do, I'm just trying to think. So if you were to do that, you would say, do you know what, we're going to go over to France or Germany or wherever, and we're going to do a show. And you then get some orders. What is the process, even with, say, a federation sample, what is the process you would typically go through? What does that look like?
Yeah, typically, if you've never done it before, you need to then find out, okay, what do we need to supply? What does that product need to look like? How do we need to change the product?
Okay.
You've got language issues.
Okay.
You want to sell to even Canada. You think there's no language issue. The packaging in Canada has to be in English as well as French Canadian.
Okay.
And if you don't know that, you don't know. So we did it. We did it in the first year. We got an order from Canada. They said it's got to be in French Canadian as well. No problem. Different French, by the way.
Sure.
So, we did that. Did the packaging. Got the order ready to ship it out.
Yeah.
Preloading inspection. They said, we can't take that. The law in Canada is that the French Canadian wording has to be the same size as the English wording.
Okay.
We didn't know. And we sent you a retail.
Why didn't you tell us that?
Yeah. And they said, it's the law in Canada. We thought you'd know.
Amazing.
You need to do your research. Talk to people who've done it before. Talk to your federation. And then you look at what paperwork do I need.
Sure.
So again, if you haven't got anyone in-house who can help you with that, put them on a training course.
Okay.
Get some training on what paperwork you're going to need to produce. Talk to your freight forwarder. What do you need to see? Show me some samples, templates.
Sure.
Train your staff or sub that out.
Okay.
Go to your local chambers, and your local chambers can do that for you for a fee. But that is often cheaper than you.
Is it, since Brexit and all of that, is that now, is it more difficult? Is it still doable? Is it just more paperwork? Like, what's the reality of that in terms of now, if you wanted to go, Europe wide?
Yeah, it is a little bit more complex because you've got VAT issues.
Okay.
Obviously, before it was you could reclaim the VAT in Europe and so on. And now you've got issues surrounding that. There are some paperwork issues surrounding it, but they're all overcomable.
Yeah.
Actually, what's the worst thing is the attitude of the buyers. It might be too difficult for them. If a German guy is sitting there in his DIY shop, and he's got a choice to buy pots from England or pots from somewhere else, and it's easier to buy it from somewhere else. That's what we're seeing. Okay, so we're seeing a little bit of attitude. In the first few years after Brexit, it was quite extreme, I'd say. Yeah. They didn't like it. They didn't like the fact that we left.
Okay.
So you saw that. Yeah. We're getting over that.
I was going to say, is that where are we now? Is that sort of calming down a little bit?
It's calming down.
Okay. But it's a little bit more complex, a few more considerations, a bit more paperwork, but it's still doable. As long as you've got the right support and you kind of know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So, all right, I want to change the tack a little bit then, because you've obviously done this for a long time, and you're now. You must have if we go back to the VegTrug days, you must have some stuff. Like, what did you get wrong? You mentioned the Canadian thing with the language, but you must have made every mistake in the book, surely.
Oh yeah, and again, this is for anyone watching this, here's some lessons. We got an order from one of the big box retailers in America.
Okay.
Really lovely order. It was they asked us to design a birdhouse for them, a bird feeder actually. Designed the bird feeder, beautiful product.
Right.
Loved it. Showed them, sent samples. They loved it. Thought it was fantastic. Yeah, we'll have 2,000 of those. Great. So it had some bits that kind of stuck out where the bird sat on. I thought, that's going to get damaged in shipping. Right. So we designed, for the first time we ever did it actually, really sustainable molded packaging, designed that around it, put it in a beautiful coloured box. It was a big box because it had all this mold around it. So it ended up being about 24, 25 inches tall.
Okay.
Lovely box, beautiful. Again, went to pre-delivery inspection. They said, we can't take that. Why not? He said, well, our shelves are only 23 inches tall. It won't fit in our shelves.
So they wouldn't take it?
No.
So what did you do with it? What did you just have
to sell it elsewhere? But,
you just wouldn't think of that, would you?
You wouldn't think of it. They didn't think to tell us. Okay. That was one. Really interesting.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like it. So, in terms of, from like Gardenex, which is now, what does that do? So if I'm a brand and I'm wanting to think about it, what does Gardenex actually do? Where does it start? How does that work?
Okay. Well, we have expertise within Gardenex.
Sure.
So first and foremost, we're a networking federation.
Sure.
So we've got, I've got colleagues that have been out there, done the shows for years after years after years after years. So, I always used Gardenex. So, which is probably why I got the job, because I became a staunch advocate of what they do. if somebody says, I've got an inquiry from Bulgaria, are these guys any good? Do I need to check them? Are they going to pay on time? All of that stuff. We know someone who's done business with them, and we can check that out. So it's just that knowledge that we have. Secondly, we do all the overseas exhibitions. So if you go to an exhibition like GAFA or National Hardware Show or Pet Fair Asia, any of these shows where you see the Union Jack, Make Britain Great stands, that's us. We take that floor space and we then sell off that floor space in smaller chunks, obviously, and we do that as a package. So a new exhibitor specifically can come to us and for a standard fee, which is much cheaper than if they tried to do it themselves. We can get them on the floor at that exhibition. We could normally apply for any grants if they're the old TAP grants, Trade Access Pass grants. So we can help them apply to the government for a grant. So again, when Paul and I started in the early days, you said, how did you do it? How did you do it?
Absolutely.
Well, the TAP grant paid our airfare. But that doesn't sound a lot, right?
Sure.
But we wouldn't have been able to do it if we hadn't have had that.
Interesting.
So again, Gardenex can help with all of that side of it.
And are those sort of things still available these days? Is that still?
They're becoming less.
I was going to say,
and the government are taking a later and later decision every year as to whether they're going to continue it. It's been reducing for a long time. And the answer to that question was superb when you say there's only 15% of manufacturers in our industry exporting, which is crazy. Britain is the traditional gardening centre of the world. We've got the tradition of gardening. We should. It's an industry that we should be exporting our expertise. Look at the brands we've got.
Absolutely.
And the government aren't really helping British businesses to get a foot in the ladder to go out and do that. That's where Gardenex steps in. So talk to us, join us, join the federation. We have a database of retailers across the world. So if you say, Joe, we're particularly interested in doing business in South America, great. We can run off a list of all of the retailers that you need to contact in South America or in a specific region. And we can show you where to go and put you in touch with those people.
It's amazing. I mean, I can think of several of our clients that are doing it, are wanting to do it, or are considering it, and are looking into it. And some of them we've been with them on that journey as they've grown in the UK, and they've then gone, actually, we want to export, we want to expand, because, as you say, in the grand scheme of things, we're a tiny little island, and there's so much opportunity out there.
Before we go any further, are you enjoying today's episode? If so, you'll love our other show, Tea Talks. They're short, informal chats where the Evergreen experts and I share actionable nuggets on all things paid media, creative and digital strategy that we use daily when growing our clients' businesses. And best of all, much like this podcast, it's completely free. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, see the link in the description. Now, let's get back to it.
All right, so look, I've got another question then, which is, so if you're considering this, what are the things you would need to have in place in your corner to make sure that you can do this? So do you need a certain type, advice, a certain type of lawyer? Like what do you need in your corner to make sure that you're set up and you can do this stuff?
Yes, you do. Especially in America. The first thing you do is find a really, really good lawyer. If you're a manufacturer wanting to export, you need to protect your products. First, and that's one of the very, very clever things we did with VegTrug right at the beginning. We couldn't afford it, but we did it anyway. We protected our products. We had really good IP. And you need a great lawyer. Even if you're looking at Germany, France, wherever, you need the advice of a good local lawyer who understands that market. You might have good advisors in the UK, but they may not have experience in that overseas market. Same goes for an accountant. Your accountant, again, may not, you can run your accounts. Obviously, you run your accounts from the UK, but you may fall foul of specific rules in Germany and the States especially. You need to understand if you sell to different states, Aaron, in America, you could be liable for local state tax in those states. Before you tread across those state lines, you need to know what you're doing. You need to understand the rules. So a really good lawyer, really good accountant who understands the market you're into, for sure.
And that's interesting because there's things that even then, what you said, you wouldn't even think. You think America's, but then different states, isn't it? That's a whole other kettle of fish. Time frames then. So how long do these things take? Because if you want to start exporting, is this something you need to be thinking a year in advance, 2 years in advance, or is it something you can think we could be doing it in 3 months? How long does it take?
I think people are on our doorstep. If you've got a specific product you think is going to go well, Holland, France, Belgium, on our doorstep, Ireland, they speak English. You haven't got to change the packaging. that's a first baby step, right?
Okay.
Go for it.
Is that what you would? Did you ever recommend that? Do you ever say, look, you're considering going all to these countries, but actually go to Ireland first? You would. Okay.
It's cheaper. You know, I've said before, these things are expensive. Airfares are expensive. It's not so expensive to get a ferry over to Ireland.
Okay.
Have a little run. And talk to these guys. It's in Europe. You will go through the same paperwork exercise as if you were exporting to Germany.
That's
the same thing.
Yeah,
so you'll learn your trade. So start closer. It would be a great tip. Timescales. You could pick an order up day one, like we did with Bunnings in the early days. You could be very lucky. In America, tends to be a bit slower. You tend to need to be out there a little bit. You know, every year.
Fine.
I'd give yourself a 3-year plan.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. 3-year plan minimum, but you've got to commit to that length of time.
Right.
You might not get nothing in year 1, nothing in year 2.
Wow.
In year 3, it will start coming good.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
It's interesting. And in terms, so for going back to when you did it then, so that time, so you got that order. I just want from a pure practical perspective, I'm just curious. So you got that order. What happened then? You got the Bunnings order. That was a big order for you. What then happened in the days and weeks thereafter? What did that look like?
The factory fell off their chair when we sat them back up again. We said, right, you've got to build all these.
Right.
And then I had to fund it. We didn't have the money to fund it.
Okay.
All my money was tied up in France.
Sure.
And so we had to go out, and it was after the 2008 financial crisis.
Yeah.
So my biggest problem actually wasn't at that time paperwork or anything like that. Sure. It was how the hell am I going to fund this? Yeah. So in the end, I found a factoring company who could help me. I mentioned them. It's Bibby, and they were brilliant. And they basically did a trade finance deal where they paid the factory.
Okay.
The factory then delivered the goods, and then they got paid, and then we got the profit.
Interesting.
So they held on to the finance. So that's how you do a trade finance. And
sure.
You know, I've got to say, the British government and there's facilities in the UK that are brilliant at trade finance.
Yeah.
So that's one of the most difficult things. And once you step up, and you step into these markets, especially somewhere like America, you know, you walk in and a Costco walks on and says, "Well, we have 20,000 of those things." You've got to finance it then. So that's the big thing as well. Finance. Yeah.
I think, and that's the bit that I guess must be quite intimidating for a lot of people wanting to think about it. Go, we'd love to get it, but if we do get it, what then? It's
absolutely
right.
I've got a quick question as well, actually. You're talking about different states in America.
Yeah.
In your experience, do you find that there's any particular state that's harder to deal with than others? Because I have an idea of one that might be.
I wouldn't say so. Okay. I mean, obviously, generally the retailers that we deal with are nationwide.
Sure.
I was talking more about specifically accounting practices. If you have a building, or you operate from a building, or you have an employee in a particular state, then that state can claim a portion of your tax that you pay. So you have a bigger accounting requirement. You have to account for each state. If you sell into a state, so if you're an online company selling into all these different states, you have to record what percentage of your sales go into that state, because they then claim, once you go over a limit, over $100,000 in specific, it's all different. They're all different. That's the other thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you have to know the rules. You have to have an accountant that understands the rules. You have to, instead of having one set of books, you have to have 52 sets of books. It's really interesting.
Wow. And if you still want to export, then Joe's your man.
Who do you think was the state that was different?
I thought it may be Texas because it's on the border to Mexico. So there might be a little bit more. Because I know that I've heard about things where people have essentially illegally taken things into Texas to then try and get it over the border.
There's great marketing. I mean there is great marketing goes on everywhere, especially with the online businesses. It's very, very difficult to control. So it's a good point. But
interesting.
And I've had friends take things over to Texas who were doing it all above board, but because they'd forgotten to do one little thing, they assumed they were trying to smuggle it over to Mexico.
Wow.
So they're getting a lot of trouble for it.
Once you've got the IP though, you can, there are certain things you can do. You can register your IP with the TSA. So if you've got grain imports coming in that are on a big scale, you can get it stopped at the port. And rejected. And so there's some good things you can do to help yourself, but you need that IP protection first.
Interesting. Come on then, give us some examples then. So if you must have in Gardenex now, you've got numerous businesses that you're helping to do this. Any examples spring to mind of ones that maybe weren't doing it, are doing it? Just, give us, I think that will help for the viewer and listener, it'll help make it real in terms of a brand, this is what we did, and give us some examples. That'd be useful.
Well, I mean, certainly, I don't want to sound like it was doom and gloom, because we've talked about a lot of the negatives.
Yeah.
And it's not negative. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it takes time. But if you commit to it, obviously the benefits to your business are phenomenal. You've got these massive markets that you can go and aim at, so you can increase and grow your business pretty quickly. Actually, in the scheme of things. There's lots and lots of success stories. VegTrug is probably a great success story. I'll give you loads of examples of what we did over there. We got our product on QVC America. Which was a lifelong ambition of mine, actually. And QVC America is huge. So if you look at shopping TV in the UK, it's that size. Germany, shopping TV is 5 times bigger than that. USA is 10 times bigger than Germany. It's massive. So we built up with QVC America. It takes a lot of hard work. It took me 10 years.
Wow.
Eventually, we got a TSV offer, a today's special value. So we went on there in 24 hours. So we had a 2-minute slot every hour for 24 hours.
Wow.
So
when was this?
This was 4 years ago. And we did $3.6 million in 24 hours.
Wow.
That's how you export, right?
That's amazing.
But, it's you can't be brave. Because, if that doesn't go right, you have to have that stock ring-fenced and ready for delivery in your warehouse. So you've got to front up the money, front up the stock, have it ready. And if it goes horribly wrong, it doesn't sell, and they hook the show, you're left with that stock. So, but if it goes right, it's phenomenal.
It works.
And obviously you work with these guys; they're so professional, they're forecasting and so on. So, we've done really, really well in America. We've done great. We've done really well in Japan. We've done great in Australia. So, there's some great examples. There was a little company that I was mentoring that was selling seeds, actually. We packaged some of their products to try and help them get them into export. Now, you try and sell seeds, and you've got another layer of issues, because obviously it's an agricultural product. Seed. So you have to go through the compliance of being able to do that. We helped them through that. And then got them into some of our retailers in the States, and off they went. And they had a fantastic time over there.
Amazing. I love it. So, look, before we wrap things up, just give us 3 top tips. What would be your 3 kind of standout tips for anyone that's thinking about it, that's not done it, that's just a little bit daunted by the idea, but is excited equally by the opportunity to go international? What would be your 3 key tips and takeaways?
Do your research. Absolutely do your research. Do your market research. Understand the value of the market that you're selling into. Understand who your competitors are. All that genuine research stuff that you have to do. Part of that is talking to us. We'll give you a lot of that information. We'll help you generate a lot of that information. Put a plan in place and commit to a plan over a period. So, if it's a huge market you're trying to crack, if you compare America to like when a music band's trying to break America, Williams never quite did it. That's really hard to break. And it's the same in business. So you've got to give yourself a plan and make sure that you commit to that plan. They want to see you year after year. Talk to the DTI. Talk to everyone who you think can help you. Talk to other people in the industry who've been there, done it. Give me a call. I'll talk it through with you. I'll give you whatever advice I can, and I'll point you at someone else who can give you another load of advice. Join your federation. Come and have a look at Gardenex. Plan the shows we think you will be best suited to. We can tell you that. We can try and get you some help, some grants, some money to help you do that. If we can, if the government loosen up a little bit and get some money. We'll get you out there and get you selling.
I love it. I think it's amazing. I think there's going to be some people that will watch this and think, it's a bit of me. And hopefully you've just helped to demystify and sort of make it that actually it's not scary. With the right support, it's like everything, isn't it? With the right support, the right people around you, actually, it's not half as daunting, half as scary as it would otherwise be if you just sit there and think, I've got to do all this by myself.
Imagine the impact on our balance of payments if from 15% of people, if we're a £5 billion industry, if more than 15%, if we could double that, 30%. the impact on our balance of payments for the UK business will be fantastic.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
let's get these guys out there exporting.
Yeah.
We've got fantastic brands, and it's an incredible little country what we produce, and our gardening tradition should be sold around the world.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I love it. Joe, look, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
We could keep talking all day, and we probably will, because I just think it's our first ever special guest terms of and a very different topic. But what we're thinking, Darren and I've been talking about, what we might do is, on a somewhat regular basis, but every now and again, do a special where we bring someone in like Joe with all that expertise, all the experience and knowledge. We can just absorb all of that and then impart it on all of our home garden lifestyle runners that are watching this and learning from it. So, Joe, it's been amazing. We'll make sure that we link to Gardenex, and we get all the links. And if there's any other bits that you want to make sure we include, we'll do that. So check out the show notes, and you'll be able to put all that.
Get me back for your 100th.
There we go. The hat hasn't scared him off. There you go. Well, look, no, Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure. Massive thank you for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
I've absolutely loved it. There you go. He's going. Oh, no. Get another one quickly. Get another one. Unbelievable. He was just about to put another particle into end the show. There we go. Right, 3, 2, 1. Hey, there we go. Well, look, massive thank you to you for watching, for listening along. We've had a lot of fun. 50 podcasts down. So many more to come. And if we can keep attracting amazing people like Joe and amazing brands, then we're just going to keep having a lot of fun, aren't we?
But we're not done yet, Harry.
Are we not? Oh, God, I am useless today. We're not. And we're not done today. And why are we not done today, Darren?
Because we've been hinting at it in the last couple of episodes. But
I have got to get better.
we're finally introducing our second. Second little.
I'm going to put my hat back on for this.
Gamification.
You go for it, Joe. You go for it.
And
Google or Meta got you down. They need problems, not in our town.
So,
I'm going to say it now.
Yeah.
I think that needs some work.
Yeah, well, I've been a bit rushed for time. The thing is, Aaron, I do have other work. And I do come up with these
No
jingles.
excuse, Darren. Come
I
on.
come up with these jingles using AI, for those who don't know. I'm not that talented.
I'm just going to say, it's good. It needs to be better.
It
I think it needs a little bit of work.
So we may see that improve as the show goes on.
I am a hard taskmaster.
But that's my first draft, so we'll see. But we have a special thing for this one as well, because not only do we have a nice little jingle, but I'm going to pass this.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, what's this? So look, we get the green envelope, the paid media problem envelope. It's a new segment, which is very exciting. So in here, we are now asking our guests. We put things out on LinkedIn, and we're getting people that are asking us questions. So this is a paid media problem.
Yeah.
Someone's got a paid media problem. They either message in, send us DMs, or email us. And so every week we're going to have one or two of these, and we're going to note it down, and I'm going to open it and see.
I didn't think you were going to steal it. I think we're going to run out of envelopes if you do that every time.
I've got loads of envelopes. It's fine. But yeah, I kind of wanted to do the whole what do you call it, like the proper stamp?
Oh yeah, the insignia.
What do you call it when you do that? What's it called? You know when you
wax
do
stamp.
wax seal. Yeah. Wanted to make it all official, but we haven't done that. But anyway, right. So this one says, this is from a chap called Craig, and this one says, Joe, you have to bear with me. This is back on my day job stuff. So they've asked, what is the best keyword match type?
Ooh.
There's a second part to this. And so what is the best, this kind of two-part question.
Yeah.
What is the best keyword match type?
Yeah.
And should I combine broad, phrase, and exact match keywords?
You've lost me.
Yeah. So right. What is okay, so in Google Ads, there are three match types. There are phrase, there are broad, phrase, and exact.
Sure.
Exact means what it says on the tin. You go, this is my keyword, and I only want you to show my ads for someone who searches for exactly this keyword, this key phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Phrase match is you put it in double quotes, and you give Google a little bit more autonomy and freedom. You say, as long as this sequence of 2, 3, 4 keywords is in the search term that they input, then we can have a little bit of, a bit of leeway. There can be terms either side of the key phrase. So it's phrase match. You're sort of saying these 2, 3 keywords, as long as they're in the middle of it, other terms either side, fine. Broad is, you just go broad. It's anything and everything. Okay. So it's like I want to bid on these keywords, but to be honest, if they're searching for anything that's relevant or even related, show my ads.
Okay.
So to answer this question specifically, so Craig, if you're watching, what is the best keyword match type? I don't think I can give you a best keyword match. The classic answer is it depends on what you're trying to do. But in answer to the second part of the question, should I combine broad, phrase, and exact? Absolutely not. Because in doing that, what you're going to see, and what Craig's probably seeing, is that his broad terms will monopolize his campaign. Right. Because in broad, you're giving Google full autonomy, so it's going to go, well, I've got more freedom to focus on the broad. So what Craig needs to do is, if he's depending on his setup of his campaigns, he needs to split out and have I'll give you what we do. We would put phrase and exact together, but always broad separate. So we would never have broad combined with phrase. It just doesn't make sense. And in terms of what we think is the best, we love phrase, and then we love phrase as a default, and then exact when we really know exactly what works, and we're just printing money for clients. And it's a case of just going, well, we know this is just works. This is like printing money. We're just going to double down on it. But our go-to is phrase. We do broad is super useful if you are doing a bit of keyword research. If you're not sure how people search, and you need to just go, I need to cast a wide net so I can understand how my customer search for me, find my products, my services, and I'm not sure, therefore I need to figure that out. You can run broad for a number of weeks, use it as you're paying to gather research and data to then be able to slice and dice and run your campaigns for phrase and exact.
Nice.
Hopefully that answered great. Look, there you go. Hopefully with an improved jingle, that we're going to review on that. With a slightly tweaked jingle, I think we'll hopefully make this a little segment. I'm loving these green envelopes. This is very, I'm loving having my little, it's
on brand.
I'm loving having that. So there you go. That's Paid Media Problems. This has been our 50th episode. Joe has been amazing. So do make sure you connect with Joe and you reach out to Gardenex if that is of interest. We'll see you back on the 51st episode, won't we?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. There you go. Right, I'm going to go and eat some more cake, and we'll see you next one. Thanks so much for joining. Take care.
Hello, beautiful people. I hope you enjoyed today's Grow with Evergreen podcast. I want to ask you if you would like to be my next guest. We're looking for more home, garden, and lifestyle brands to join us. So if you're using paid media, such as Google Ads and Meta Ads, if you're willing to be honest and open, and if you're wanting to grow online, then I think you'll find our podcast incredibly helpful for your business. You can apply directly via our website. Simply click on the navigation in the top right-hand side of the website and select podcast. Fill in the application and one of my team will get back to you. Best of all, it's completely free to join us on the Grow with Evergreen podcast. I look forward to helping you grow your business very soon.